Welcome to Cardboard Chemistry. I'm your host, MTG Labman, and today we're going to go over my favorite black cards from the Lorwyn Eclipsed set. So Lorwyn Eclipsed is coming out, and we've already covered the white and blue cards in previous episodes. So today we're going to start with the black cards. Black is probably my favorite color in Magic, so let's get started. First card is Bitter Blossom Bearer. Two mana value, 2 black pips. 1/1 fairy rogue creature with flash, flying, and then at the beginning of your upkeep, you lose a life, and you create a 1/1 blue and black fairy creature token with flying. This is the Bitter Blossom enchantment card on a creature. Very useful in aristocrat decks, and I feel like this is going to see a lot of play in aristocrats, fairies, basically anything that you want to start getting a creature on the battlefield to trigger an ability or to sack to a value engine. Next card is Bloodline Bidding, 6 colorless and 2 black, so 8 mana value total. Sorcery with Convoke, so your creatures can help you cast the spell. Each creature you tap can pay for 1 colorless or 1 mana of that creature's color. And the sorcery says, choose a creature type, return all creature cards of the chosen type from your graveyard to the battlefield. With the large tribal theme within Lorwyn, the Lorwyn blocks, and even I can see zombie typo or rat typo, any typo that runs black in the color pie can benefit from this card, especially if you're going with tokens. You could tap your tokens to then basically bring back all of your creatures from the graveyard. Nice mass reanimation spell that can be reduced. Next card is Bogart Mischief, 2 colorless and a black. It's a kindred enchantment for goblins. When this enchantment enters, you may blight 1. If you do, create 2 1/1 black and red goblin creature tokens. And then whenever a goblin creature token dies, each opponent loses a life and you gain a life. I like this not so much for power level. I mean, even if you are playing aristocrat goblins, you have goblin bombardment and those where you sacrifice a creature, deal 1 damage, so then you're technically dealing 2 damage. I like that this is a callback to Bogart shenanigans in the original Lorwyn block, which was whenever a goblin you control dies, it deals 1 damage to each opponent, which is a red enchantment. So, I could see this being run in a Rakdos sacrifice goblin deck, which I think would actually be pretty fun overall. Speaking of goblin sacrifice decks, next card is Grub Storied Matriarch, 2 colorless and a black. It's one of the flip legendary creatures, so it's a 2/1 with Menace, a legendary creature goblin warlock. Whenever this creature enters or transforms into Grub Storied Matriarch, return up to 1 target goblin card from your graveyard to your hand. So whenever it flips or whenever it enters, you can return. And then at the beginning of your first main phase, you may pay 1 red if you do transform Grub. So the backside of Grub is still a 2/1 Menace. Whenever Grub attacks, you may blight 1. If you do, create a tapped and attacking token that's a copy of the blighted creature, except it has, at the beginning of your end step, sacrifice this token. So this is really good. With Goblin Sacrifice, you create a token that you have to sacrifice at the end. You're also blighting one of your creatures, so you're making a creature smaller. So you have potential of, if you have Bogart Mischief out, you have the potential of blighting a token, killing it, causing 1 damage to all of your opponents, you gaining a life. And then say you copy a goblin like Mudbutton Torch Runner from the original Lorwyn sets that deals damage when it leaves. Like, you can easily start dealing out a lot of damage, chip damage that isn't really expected. Or if you have a creature that has a ETB without a cast trigger, just an ETB trigger, you could blight one of your creatures and create a token of that creature with a good ETB, and then yet sacrifice at the end, but you still got the ETB. And then, of course, you can pay black at the beginning of your next upkeep, especially if it's a goblin, flip grub back, and you can return that utility goblin from your graveyard to your hand. Next card, probably one of my favorite cards in the set. One of the few cards I actually pre-ordered from Lorwyn Eclipsed. Moonshadow. 1 mana value, so just 1 black pip. It's a 7/7 elemental with menace. It enters with 6 -1/-1 counter, so it enters the battlefield as a 1/1. But whenever 1 or more permanent cards are put into your graveyard from anywhere while this creature has a -1/-1 counter on it, remove a -1/-1 counter. So self-milling strategies where you're dumping cards into your graveyard can get this up, get the counters off of it pretty quickly. This card for personal is for my Zuifit deck, right? I can dump this on the battlefield as a 1/1, use it as a chump blocker for an attack, and then as soon as I have Zuifit on the battlefield, I can tap, once she doesn't have summoning sickness, I can tap Zuifit and basically return this to the battlefield as a 7/7 skeleton for very little investment. One thing to note, it is when a permanent card is put into your graveyard, so tokens do not work with Moonshadow, because tokens cease to exist as they go to the graveyard. So they don't count as cards. Next card is Mornsong Aria. 1 colorless, 2 black pips, a legendary enchantment. Players can't draw cards or gain life. At the beginning of each player's draw step, that player loses 3 life, searches their library for a card, puts that into their hand, then shuffles. This card is a powerful card. It's a lockout card, right? You run this in Marlin of the Mornsong, the original Marlin card. Basically have the same ability with like an opposition agent where players can't search their libraries, and you basically lock everybody, your opponents, out of the game. They can't search. They still have to lose 3 life. You run this with the Obnixilis, that whenever a player searches their library, or whenever an opponent searches their library, they lose like 10 life. It's just a lockout card. It's a powerful card, but I don't think it's going to get a lot of play, especially in casual tables, because it is a very mean card that, as soon as you play this and you play something that players can't search their libraries, you're locked everybody out of the game, and everybody's probably just going to scoop. Next card is another favorite from the set, Twilight Diviner. 2 colorless and 1 black, so 3 mana value total for a 3/3 elf cleric. When this creature enters, you surveil 2. That's a look at the top 2 cards of your library, then put any number in your graveyard and the rest on the top of your library. Whenever 1 or more other creatures you control enter, If they entered or were cast from a graveyard, create a token that's a copy of one of them. This ability triggers only once each turn. No surprise, this is also going in Zuifit. A lot of graveyard recursion in that deck, and I like the fact that, right, if I bring something back with Zuifit's ability stacks after, so it's, one of the finishers in the deck's Grey Merchant of Asphodel, Gary. If I bring Gary back as a skeleton, with Zoo, the token copy that Twilight Diviner creates of Grey Merchant isn't the skeleton. It still has all of its abilities, so I can basically get a blocker and a copy of an ability I want, and I think that's really powerful. So it just gives another utility toolbox, but it's also great for any other reanimation strategy. If you have, a cleric reanimator or whatnot, having the ability to, when you bring something back, you get something extra, always beneficial to the graveyard decks. And moving on, I have 2 cards from the Commander product in black that I like. The first one is Grave Venerations, 3 colorless, 1 black, 4 amount of value total enchantment. When this enchantment enters, you become the monarch. At the beginning of your end step, if you're the monarch, return up to 1 target creature from your graveyard to your hand. And then whenever a creature you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. So it's a nice, just nice synergy, bringing things back. If you're running Grub as your commander, if you're running a graveyard deck, the ability to return a creature card to your hand, bring back your best creature that died that turn, I think is a very powerful ability. And the last card in black I want to cover is the Off-Nab Goat. 1 colorless, 1 black, so 2 mana value overall for a 0/5 goat. Has ability pay 1, draw a card, gain control of this creature, and put a -1/-1 counter on it. Only your opponents may activate this ability, and only as a sorcery. And then whenever this creature dies, if it had 1 or more -1/-1 counters on it, its owner draws that many cards, and each other player loses that much life. Fun little pass around the table card. Note that it is the owner of the card that gets to draw the cards, and the other players lose the life. So even if you're the controller and you put a -1/-1 counter on it, you do not get the card. You don't get the 5 cards at the end when it inevitably dies. So fun little card, nice little political card. Or hey, I need a card, I'm gonna pay 1 and grab this goat to draw a card. And with that, those are my top cards for Black in Lorwyn Eclipsed. Thank you all for listening. Feel free to comment with the cards that you like from Lorwyn Eclipsed, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.